Mindset is crucial. A very different future is possible. Our species tends to do its most interesting innovation, jump to very different spaces when it's backed into a corner. And the question is, can we come out of that, not just fighting, but with a very different set of mindsets, technologies, and business models?
I was an adventurer, an explorer, a climber, a river runner. That was my passion. It still is. And that passion is rooted in love for wild areas. And when you have that love, and in your own lifetime, you see those wild areas degrade, you see them bulldozed over, you see them fragmented by human development. Now you see those places actually change and shift because of human-caused climate change. You got to do something about it.
We're actually going to get to a point where there's a tipping point where even the world's largest and oldest organizations will evolve in order to take on bigger, grander challenges that actually have more intentional, beneficial societal impact.
If I really wanted to solve urgent problems around the world, 67 million young kids on the street instead of school, 1 billion people living under $1 a day, climate change, these issues that really impact whether the world is moving forward or backwards, it needed to be through business.
There are many businesses that are totally conscious that they are not sustainable, and they know they have a kind of expiration date. We don't want to have an expiration date, that's very simple. So we want to have a very, very, very long future, and therefore we need to be sustainable.
We need to start thinking about the future with a different mindset. A mindset of optimism, a mindset of abundance, and a mindset of achievability.
Courage and optimism is required. And I think if you sort of look at where we are in terms of all we hear about the state of the science, the state of where we are globally on climate change, right now we need optimism.
Many people, particularly in business, see the Sustainable Development Goals as an incremental agenda. Let's do more of what we're doing and we'll get by 2030 to where we need to be. They're not an incremental agenda. They're basically about exponential change.
Rather than looking at incrementalism and trying to create a culture of going 10% more, you try to create a culture of going 10 times more. And you do that for a reason. If you tell them 10x, it requires them to forego any preconceived notions around what it has to be or should be, and it gives them the degrees of freedom to experiment and think more creatively on what 10x could look like.
Everything has to change, but not change because it's bad. It's just change because we can do better. Now, what are we going to do?
For the past 20 years, there's just been this amazing surge in technology. I think it's the warm-up act. I think the really exciting stuff is still to come, and I feel very fortunate that I've got this front row seat to watch the next industrial revolution unfold in front of us. Tech progress is literally letting us do more with less in very profound ways. I'm not making this up, right?
If we look at what technologies are coming down the pike that are going to impact environmental issues or societal issues, there is a tsunami of change coming. Today, if you think about it, the poorest child on the planet with a cell phone has access to as much information as the CEO of Google. Just complete evening of the playing field.
Most of the people on our planet don't live in the Western Hemisphere. And we have to design a future not just for them, but it has to be a future designed by them, with them. Every day is fraught with difficulty. And so there needs to be a real tenacity and perseverance to really have a hope for the future.
Business must have purpose. I see too many businesses that talk about their business as being making the product that they make. And that is very constraining.
Purposive companies are ones that are mission-driven, that focus on people and are financially sustainable. Our first mission at Planet is to image the whole world every day and to make global change visible, accessible, and actionable.
That's when you're getting to the purpose of the company, when you see what the benefit is that comes to humanity, the planet, whichever way you look at it, the environment, from that company existing.
You have to keep going forward and look at the future as a long-term future. And how can you project yourself in a business if this future cannot be sustained. It's not rocket science, it's just to be determined and do it.
In order to have an impact, you need to build a team. So it's really about building and empowering teams to come on a journey with you. Alone, we can only achieve this much, but if you think about bigger teams, you can achieve much more.
It's amazing when you get a small group of people that all care about a problem together to try and tackle it. It's kind of amazing the damage and dent you can do. I think we've got a long way to go, and I think we're right at the foothills of a humongous mountain, but I think we're having the audacity to say that these problems can be solved in a different way.
I love seeing our talented scientists work together. These people that normally wouldn't come together in a typical company coming together because they believe in something higher.
An optimistic perspective is not only going to keep our employees connected, it's going to keep our innovation teams really excited, and that's when the best ideas happen.
When you look at dealing with an uncertain, complex world, actually what you need are leaders who are able to bring a very different skill set to what they're doing. So they need to be able to be really comfortable with ambiguity, with being the people who are actually asking the right questions, rather than the people who feel they have to have all the answers.
The breakthrough is thinking differently. Thinking that things are possible using today's technology that everybody will tell you are impossible.
Failure is meant to be not the opposite of success, it's meant to define the true parameters of what real success could look like. So you almost have to create a culture where, like, test it till it breaks, learn from it, and from those learnings, ameliorate to the next model to take it that much further.
A round-the-world flight without a single gram of fuel in an aeroplane that is the size of a huge jumbo jet, and it has the weight of a small family car. That's not the future, that's today. That's a real breakthrough.
If someone truly wants to solve a problem, we can. There's no scarcity of the ability to do that. It's really the passionate, committed human mind that is the most scarce. I think if I could change one thing, it's to get people to stop focusing on the negative, to be scared about the future, but instead to feel empowered and given the confidence that they can in fact go and change the world, which in fact they can.
Look at the history of science and you see it again and again and again. You get these clusters of innovations which occur when the first person has made the discovery. That's the way innovation takes place. It's not a linear process, it's a breakthrough process. And these technical breakthroughs are happening continuously, and you need to be able to use them, pick them up, run with them, operationalize them if you like, or commercialize them, take them to market, and then you make big change.